Hi guys, welcome to my Bajerski YouTube channel. How you all doing? Just a quick note before I continue. There's a reason why at the moment every day you're going to see a video about crystals on this channel, and that is because the crystal channel doesn't seem to be as active when I put anything up there. And I thought there's so many videos, like 80, 90, 100 of them, and a lot of you haven't seen them. So I started this channel quite a while ago, and I think you'll see some of them are in Bali and places like that. Bear in mind when you're watching an older video, don't be writing in saying grapes when it's 2 years old or 1 year old, okay? So it's just like bringing them over. Enjoy the videos, watch them, learn from them, but anything that talks about a gift or anything like that, that was back then. That's been done already. I never thought about this. Duh. Not you, I mean me. Should have thought about that. So underneath you'll see this was an old video. So sorry guys, if you've put grapes, my staff are saying, what you done now? I'm saying, what have I done? What have I done? Why is everybody saying grapes? I'm going, I don't know. Why is everybody saying grapes? They should be saying Moldavite workshop. No, they're saying grapes and Moldavite workshop. I don't know. And then it clicked. Okay, duh. I'm putting these videos over onto here so you can enjoy these videos. Yeah. So I'm sorry about that, guys. There's no free raffles and stuff just at the moment. Okay, we're moored out with work, but I will do some free raffles or some raffles soon and giveaways. We are still 250 behind, which means that we still have 250 free crystals to go out. So if you didn't receive your crystal when you placed when you sent your message, just be patient, guys. It's going to come. But there's only a new staff member now, 3 sets of hands working on it, and we have a lot of work. We answer a lot of emails. One of the main things that we do is we try our best to answer everybody. Yeah, so just so you know, every day there's going to be a new video, and it's going to be a new old video. So just forget about what he says, but enjoy the video on the crystal and what it does. That's it, really. That's all I wanted to share with you about that. How are you all doing anyway? How's everything going? It's been a busy all day today. It's been really great. We've been wrapping up the prizes to everybody who entered the raffle. And all the crystals that have sold in these past couple of days. So we've been working very hard on that. They're all wrapped and packed. We're all done. So tomorrow's another day. We're really, really loving it. I've got a lot of crystals to work through. I'm enjoying my time with working with these crystals. I've got a bunch of large Herkimer diamonds over there that I've got to work on. And I've got a few trios over there, not so many, so sorry guys at the moment. There's a few over there that'll be going up tomorrow on the website because there's none left. Yeah, and I've just worked on these as well, Moldavite chips, which some of them will be going into the Moldavite oil, which we sell. And yeah, lots of like little things happening at the moment. What else? Anyway, how are you doing? Come closer. There you go. Well, because we were talking about the tarot course, many people have taken it, and I'm saying thank you so much. And some of the questions were asked of me about tarot, and I'm going to share a story with you now that I've shared before a few times in my tarot courses and other courses. And it's a really beautiful acknowledgement and a way of I believe, our beautiful spirit world and how they see and watch and communicate and how amazing and how clever they truly are. I mean, we take the world of spirit for granted in the sense of, oh, it's there, or maybe it's not there, or yeah. But when you really see how impressive they are by days, week, months, years in our perception, but in their perception there is no time and space. But it's interesting how they know when certain situations will happen and how they can influence them very, very beautifully. I mean, incredibly. So here's one of the stories, and it's regards to anyway, I'm going to share the story with you. So just have another drink. So I guess I was full-time working as a psychic reader, spiritual reader, and healer. I just moved off from Doreen Virtue's Angel Cards, which I was doing really, really well with. Yeah, I'm going to tell you that story as well and then go on to this story. So, yeah. Wow, there's 3 stories in one here. Do you want to hear all 3 of them? Okay, let's put all 3 of them together. Sit comfortably. Okay, so how it went was like this. A day came when I was asked to go and work with Koichi. Koichi was a Japanese healer, is a Japanese healer, and a wonderful soul. We worked well together, we laughed, we joked, and we didn't take our work serious. But when we worked, we were serious because we were doing the work. But there was no ego between us. We worked together and really well. I did psychic readings and healings, and he did his very unusual healing technique, which worked tremendously. To watch the energy around his clients shift as he asked them to jump in the air was incredible. As he moved each arm and each limb and turned them slightly, I could see the energy shift. And I said, you know, Koichi, your work is really beautiful, and I've never seen anything like this before. And he smiled, and he watched my work, and he said, I like your work, Mark, very good. And I said, oh, thank you. I said, it's nice that we can work together and really appreciate each other. So one day he called me and says, Mark, he said, there's an event happening in Fuengirola. And I went, where? He said, the castle. And I said, really? He said, yeah. And the castle basically is a derelict castle on top of like this big hill, right on the seafront. And I said, who's doing it? He says, Phil from La Chispa. I went, oh, I love Phil, great guy. It's going to be a good event because Phil always made good events. So I said, I'd love to do it. So how much is the stand? And he said, I think it was, I don't know whether it was 100 or 150 for 2 days. And I said, okay, we'll do it. We'll share the stand because, you know, we were just working healers. We weren't rich or anything, but we were just beginning our career. And he too. So I don't know, he might have done a few years, and I did like a year and a half, something like that, where I was giving free readings and free healings for that length of time. And at that particular moment, I opened my door to anybody with cancer. So what happened is I came away from, okay, let me carry on. So we start the day where there's my healing bed and a table for me to do readings. Koichi didn't need that. He just stood his client up and worked on them that way. So it was great. He had his clients, I had mine, and I think I was charging 25 a session and he was charging 25 or 30 a session. I'm not sure, but it was not very expensive. It was okay. So I remember we'd gone into our first day work, and as we were working really hard, we were having clients come in and I was doing readings and healings. And I remember one particular point in these 2 days that a beautiful woman walked past and her head was sunk down, and it was really strange because she was really, really off inside. And I looked at her and thought, are you okay? And she wasn't okay. And basically what had happened is she'd lost faith in humanity. And I said, are you okay? She said, not really, dear. She said, I thought this place would be filled with love and compassion and healers and kindness. And she says, every single stall I've been to, nobody would help me because I have no money. And I said, well, it's okay, sit down. So I sat her down and I said, just relax and close your eyes. And so I remember her tuning in, and I could feel somebody who loved her very much in the spirit world came through. And I said, this feels like a man. It feels like a man who loves you. It feels like, I think, a partner. And I think it could be your husband. And because I didn't get perfect information then, I had to really work hard. And I'm trying to pull this through, and I'm explaining to what this man feels like and what he's trying to tell me. After 1 hour, I got up and walked around and gave her a healing session after I'd finished speaking to her, and she fell asleep as I was giving a healing session in the seat, because I didn't bring her over to the bed. I don't know why. I just went round and gave her some healing on her head and in her heart. When I'd finished, I was smiling, and Koichi smiled because he could see she was asleep. So I left her there, and it was never about money for me, guys. So if she wanted to stay there 2 hours, I wouldn't have minded. It would have been what she needed, and that was important. But she woke up after I don't know how long, and she didn't say anything for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I left her to it. And I was just enjoying the day watching Koichi doing his healing sessions, because I find that fascinating. So she looked at me and she smiled for the first time, and she says, now I know why nobody would help me. And I think that's exactly what I said as well. And we both realized that spirit brought her there because maybe nobody else could have given her what she needed. So I was like really overwhelmed and thankful. And I remember giving her a crystal, and she said, you've restored my faith. And I said, there are good people in this world, but sometimes just remember from this situation, don't ever feel bad if somebody doesn't want to help you. It just means that they're not the right one. And she really embraced that. We gave each other a cuddle and she went. Shortly after that, I turned and I think was I just eating, or I don't know, I've maybe finished eating, something like that. I don't remember exactly how it went. I'm attuned to ages ago. But after I finished eating, I thought, you know what, I need to re-energize. So yeah, I think I finished eating and I sat down in my seat where I would give people psychic readings, and I closed my eyes and did my 10 minutes of re-energizing. It means that I'm bringing my energy back again and clearing any negative energy. Anyway, so I got my eyes closed, and I remember it was people walking around everywhere, but I'm oblivious to it because I'm in my own world and space. Nobody affects me when I do the work. It's easy for me. Even if it's 10,000 people, no problem. So I'm doing my breathing, and all of a sudden I open my eyes, and in front of me was this most majestic angel that I've ever seen. She was a woman round about 40, 45. The hard part, I couldn't actually tell you how old she was. Because now I'm thinking about it, I don't know whether she was 38. She wasn't 20, but she was 20. It was really weird. But she looked a woman of wisdom. Now, when I looked at her, she was very, very, like I was sat in the seat, she was sat in the seat, and she was much taller than me. And she had the same seat as me because I brought 2 chairs exactly the same. They were white with raton backs. They were beautiful French style chairs. And when I looked at her, I thought, wow, she's like really tall in this. And then I looked at her again and looked in her eyes, and then I looked at her skin, and which was like pale white, but not a blemish. Anyway, I smiled, and so I got my cards ready. It was like, I'm going to start reading. Anyway, so I don't want to go on too long, but to cut a long story short, it's in my book. This is in my book, and Seeing the Invisible. I started reading for her, and I'm not going to go into details, but At one point when I stopped, she said to me, with my angel cards, soon your cards will have no effect and they will have no meaning. And she said a few other things which were very personal to me, which actually now have come true 100%, which she actually gave me a reading. When this unusual moment happened and she left, I turned to Koichi, who had just finished his client about 10 minutes prior, and I said, what did you think to that beautiful soul? And he said, who? And I said, the lady who was just sat here with the long white hair down to a bum, the beautiful woman in white, come on. And he said, I see no woman. I said, no, come on, why do you used to wind me up? He says, no, I see no woman. I said, how can you not see her? She was sat there, I gave her a reading. No woman. So for some reason I got up and just walked around my stall just to see where she'd gone. Looked down the aisle, she wasn't there. Went to the next aisle, she wasn't there and she wasn't down there. I came back again, went across there and then went around and went to every aisle, she wasn't there. I went around the whole of the aisles where everybody was working, and I started asking people, did you just see a lady with long white hair? No. Did you just see a lady pass by with long white? No. I went to the front. There's only one gate in and out. I said to the guy, the lady with the long white hair, the tall lady with the long white hair, says, no, see no way. I said, you must have seen the lady. She's got long white. I mean, you can't miss her. He said, no. I said, right, okay, this is weird. So I go back to my stand. Opposite my stand, there's a Spanish lady there who was doing readings, and she hadn't done a reading for ages. And I looked at her and I said, 10 minutes ago, because I walked around for like 5 or 10 minutes looking for her. And I said, do you know the lady who was sat here? I said, ¿Tú sabes la chica con rubia? Rubia? No. I said, this is madness. I went back to the front door. I said, where's the other entrance and exit? Sorry. He said, there's only this one. Now I'm really confused. I go and sit back down, and that was it. About 2 weeks after that encounter, I was in Tickle Pink, where I was working upstairs in my new beautiful room, which now I'm a full-time psychic and healer. I took the plunge to go full-time. This lady had come for a reading, and I laid out 3 of the cards from here. 3 of these cards, because this is the cards that I used. I laid the 3 cards out, which I used to do, and I turned all 3 cards over. And for the first time in my whole 18 months of reading and healing, I looked at the cards, looked at her, and it just came out. She was really confused. I said, these cards are not telling me what I need to know. She says, what do you mean? Well, I said, I turned this card over and I said, you haven't lost a child in spirit. She said, no, I have never been pregnant. And I said, yeah, I know. But this card is representing card in spirit at this moment. This is what it's speaking to me. And I turned this card over. I said, this card means nothing to me as well, because I know you haven't got an animal in spirit. You've never had an animal. She said, no, I've never had an animal. I says, I know, but this card's telling me you had an animal. I turned this card over. I don't know what that card was. I still can't remember to this day. And she said, this is weird. And I said, not as weird as it is for me. I took these cards, I put them into this deck, and I threw them. Did I throw them? No, I shoved them in my drawer, and I got my new set of cards out, which I just started learning. And what sprung back to my mind with a big smile on my face is this angelic lady who predicted that those cards would not work anymore. I took these cards out and I never looked back. I never looked back. I did a reading for that lady which blew me away. A lot of the times people believe that psychics are those that know everything. And I'm not that kind of psychic. I'm somebody who works really hard to see people's futures, past and present. And I work hard on the basis of resolution, of clarity, and of finding answers where problems may occur and how to avoid or how to conquer them. That's always been my fundamental grounding truth on reading. Nothing else. I have no time for I'm amazing because I predicted this, or I'm amazing because I told them that they've got 2 children, 1 girl, boy. I have no time for any of that. That is ego. For me, I wanted to help my client when they came with issues and problems. I wanted to make them feel stronger. I wanted to give them confidence, and I just wanted them to feel healed. So I'm sat down, I give the lady a reading, she leaves, and then whether it was 1 or 2 days or a week, I don't know, but let me tell you, I'm sat down while my wife or ex-wife now had gone home, and I was giving her a break from the shop, which was quite busy. And I'm sat at the shop at the front desk, and 2 people walked in, a man and a woman. They walked through the door, and I recognized them. And they said, "Hello, Mark, how are you?" And I said, "I'm really well, thank you. How are you?" And then I realized, they live on my urbanization, which is 10 minutes walk from Tickle Pink on the end here. And always a lovely couple, and always got time for me and everybody else. Really, really genuine, beautiful people, quiet, and just kind. Anyway, "How are you doing?" she said. I said, "I'm doing all right, thank you." "And how's the shop?" I said, "It's doing okay. Yeah, we're ticking by, we're paying the bills, we're keeping the wolves from the door." And she said, "So is this what you do? Is this what you do from day and night?" I said, "Well, actually, I've started to do something which is brand new, because I used to have another shop on the other set of stairs, but I sold it, and I'm now upstairs here, and I work full time." And she says, "What do you do, Mark?" And I said, "Well, I kind of try and help people, and I do healing, and I also try and do spiritual readings." And she says, "And how do you do that?" And I said, "Well, actually, I've started learning how to use tarot." At that point, this woman stopped. The man stopped, her husband, and what seemed like 10 minutes to me, I thought, this is how powerful I am in reading, I thought I'd just ripped them apart, because I felt a deep pain of emotional torture. And for the first moment, I was trying to understand what I'd done. And as your mind works, as it does, this is why you should never read and go up here. You should never think, you just read. Don't think, because that ruins it. So I'm thinking, right, trying to understand this communication in a sense of attunement, and I felt terrible. I got to be honest, I felt terrible. Why? Because my mind said, tarot, death, hangman, it's got to be that. There's no other answer. She must be religious. She must be Catholic or Mormon or some religion that deems the tarot card as evil, because that's how it is. If I'm right in saying this, I looked at her and I wasn't sure, but I think she was welling up in her eyes. And I'm feeling really bad now, because I'm thinking I must have really let her down. by what I'm doing. And I actually questioned for a moment, am I working for the devil? And it was an awful feeling. And what happened next was she turned and went quiet and walked out. And so did he. So that really freaked me out for days. I was gutted that I'd upset somebody, because I don't like upsetting anybody. Last thing I want is conflict with anybody. I really hate it and I struggle with it, as many of us do. So the days went by, and again, Susie had gone home, and I'm sat after a day's reading and healing at round about 8 o'clock, and from 8 till 12 o'clock because it was height of summer and we were busy all night, because it's one of those villages where people come from all over the world to a whitewashed village, and people like to shop. So there were people coming in and out shopping, and it was about, I don't know, 9 o'clock, something like that. Sat down, and who should walk through the door was this couple again. And they walked up to me, and as she walked up to me, before she could even say anything, I said, I am so sorry. I said, I am really sorry. I'm sorry I upset you. I'm sorry about what I'm doing and She said, stop, Mark. She said, no. It's me who's sorry. I'm sorry that I walked out of the door. And then she began to explain to me something that today has been a big part of my life. She said, Mark, I want to explain something to you, so please listen. I said, okay, panicking, worried. She said, we had a beautiful son called Gregor, and he was the light of our life. He was beautiful, he was kind, he was special. Gregor used to be that kind of man that was fascinated by many different things in the world. And Gregor lived in Scotland, and while he was in Scotland living there, he worked on a salmon fish farm. And after he'd done his day's work, he'd come back home to his little house, and he'd set to on something that he was very passionate about. And I'm going, yeah? What? She said, he was passionate about Celtic symbolisms. I went, okay. And she said, and he spent years of his life learning all about this beautiful symbolism and what the meaning of ancient Celts and all of that symbolism. I went, okay, wow. She said, our Gregor passed away not long ago. And I said, I am so sorry. She said, yeah. And she said, Mark, I want to give you something. I went, okay. And she went into a bag and pulled out this beautiful silk, what looked like a purse type purse. And she opened it. And she opened it to reveal these. And she said to me, Mark, when you told me that you were working as a tarot reader, she said, the one thing that Gregor did, and took him years, was to create his very own symbolisms in tarot cards. And she says, what I have in my hand here is his life's work in symbolisms. And these are tarot cards that he produced and made himself out of his own studying. And she said, these were the only things after he passed into the light that I had no idea what to do with. And she said, soon as you mentioned that, I started to cry and fill up, because I knew Gregor brought me into here to listen to you saying that you'd just started tarot readings, so I know who I need to put these into their hands. And Gregor asked me, would you take care of them? Well, I was crying my eyes out, literally crying, pouring with tears. We both were. It was the most beautiful moment of my life to know that when somebody's spent their life creating something so beautiful, that they have the power to send their mum and dad to a certain place that person, that man, is going to look after and take care of his beautiful work. Now let me tell you something, guys. My first mentor wanted these cards off me more than anything. She was fighting for them. Every day she asked me for them, and I said, you know what? They need to stay with me. She wanted to copy these and sell them as new tarot cards because she knew the power and the symbolisms because she studied them, and she said these are extremely powerful. And I said, you know what? I don't want to dishonor his energy, but what I will do is I will hold them and I will share them with everybody who comes to learn, who comes through this door, and I use them often in houses when I needed to cleanse them, when it was deep and difficult. I use them for certain beautiful blessings, and I'm going to show you them now, okay? These are all hand done. Now this guy isn't an artist, but he is when you look at it, because you can feel his passion. You can feel the symbolism. So this would be known as a prototype. From here, they would be designed exactly the same in perfection and with a beautiful background, and then there would be the new tarot cards. And then they would go into a box and probably millions and millions would be sold, because they are incredible. Now, I don't want to do too many, because if somebody is watching this, they can screenshot them and copy them. And that is not what this is about. This is about sharing something so beautiful and so profound that made me understand the power of spirit. So to conclude this amazing sequence of events, if anybody said to me, do you believe that the spirit world has influence over us? I don't say I believe. What I say is I know they have. Now, there is a difference between influence and pushing you into certain situations. Free will is always the higher energy. But spirit knows that they can whisper and gently move us into a certain direction to make the decision whether we want to follow through with that. Now, most of us don't see that from day to day, and that's the truth. Most of us just think that everything is coincidence. But in those 16 years of learning all about the awareness of life, not what's happening outside, but what's happening inside and around me, you start to realize there's something so divine about our journey if we are allowed to open ourselves up, free from pain, suffering, and fear. If we become one with our intuition, if we become one with Mother Earth, if we learn to attune to the higher energy of spirit, we then realize that there is no coincidence. None at all. It's all absolutely relevant to everything we do, everything we hear, everything we feel. This conversation I'm having with you, this is relevant to you, whether you know that or not. It's true. It's relevant because that's why you're here. Out of the millions of videos in the world, why is it that you come to Mark Bajerski? Why? Because whatever is said, there is some relevance in there for your journey. Not just to say, oh, he's brilliant and he's clever, but maybe something that makes you think in a way that, wow, I didn't really get what he said, but I think I understand what he means. Meaning that I am like a tarot card. I show you a tarot card and you see in that tarot card what is your meaning. So each tarot card is different to everybody. Each message is different for everybody. It awakens you, it helps you see, it awakens the flame and the intuition and helps and guides you by what comes out of my mouth or what I show you. Now, if I had nothing to offer you because there was nothing that you could relate to, then you wouldn't see me for all my life. You'll never meet me. You'll never know who I am. Now, I'm not just saying that in a sense of, oh, it's Michael Jackson, so everybody needs to know about Michael Jackson, or a famous film star. That's different. I'm talking about moments where you meet somebody and you have this connection, and then, you know, maybe Michael Jackson was there to help to teach you to dance or to love. Maybe a famous star, you know, I mean, let's not judge. Let's just try and understand why are we in this world, and why do we, for some reason, meet certain people for no reason, like it just happens. I'm sat there and I'm having a conversation with somebody and all of a sudden, wow, this happens. And all of these events, in my opinion and my truth and my belief, tell me that I'm not alone. I am never alone. I am guided and loved by two beautiful ladies and many more on these walls that have been in my life. And apart from Penelope and Brian and my mum and all of the other people on my wall, Shirley and everybody else, those that I knew, what about all those people that I know in the spirit world before I came here who are still there? What about all the people that I love and care for there? And who says that all the people in the spirit world don't know me because I'm one with everybody anyway? So why would I limit myself and ever say in the physical mind, I'm on my own, I'm alone, when where I came from is oneness, like the drop in the water. One drop that you take out of the water is you in the spirit world. Put that drop of water back into the sea and you are one with the sea. So I know that my mum and everybody else is drops in a beautiful ocean of love and kindness and healing. That's my story tonight that I wanted to share with you. It's in my book, 2 books actually, Diary of an Accidental Psychic and Seeing the Invisible. These books are my 16 years work of the magic that happened to me, sometimes very, very challenging moments, but those moments that made such an impact in my life to understand the power of spirit and how they guide us and how they ask us to work for them and help them. And never forget, on a final note, that when you think you do nothing in this world because you're sat down inside your home and you can't travel, you can't go anywhere, let me tell you something, guys. When you close your eyes and you fall asleep, your spirit goes to work and it makes a difference in this world. So don't ever think you're not needed, and don't ever think you are alone. You are most needed, and you are surrounded by people who love you every single moment of your entire beautiful life. And on a final note, you are more loved than you could ever imagine. You are loved and you are protected by our spirit world, by your world, your home. Never forget that. You are needed in this world. And I thank you for being a beautiful human being, but more so for being a beautiful spirit that flies on a night. Look after yourself. And thank you for going to markbajerski.com and buying your authentic tools and crystals. Thank you. We're working hard to getting them to you, and all of the books and everything else that we've done, the downloads, we've worked very hard, and we do it out of love, and we do it because we know how much you appreciate it. And please, please, we still have over 250 free gifts of crystals to get out, and we're working through them. So thank you, and don't be disappointed. It will come just at the right moment. Love you all.